voice strong, roots deep. We rise, we don't retreat.
Hey ladies, hey, welcome back to Rooted in Your Confidence. If this is your first time here, my name is Samantha K. Harris, and around here we talk about what it really takes to use your voice, stand in your power, and trust yourself in rooms that weren't built with you in mind. And before we get into today's episode, I want you to do me a favor. If you've been listening, if something has touched you, if you've ever found yourself saying, "That's me," go ahead and follow the podcast. Leave a review and share this episode with another woman who needs to hear it. Because this isn't just about listening, it's about shifting how you show up in your life, your work, and your leadership. Now, today's conversation is a good one. I am sitting down with Lacey Cadieux-McLean, founder and CEO of Rhubaia. And what I love about this conversation is we're not just talking about success. We're talking about what it looks like when you're in spaces where you don't feel seen, when your ideas don't fit in the box, and when you have to decide in real time if you're going to trust yourself or second guess what you already know. Lacey shares how she turned frustration into innovation, how she built something at the intersection of tech, sustainability, and creativity, and what it really took for her to lead in environments where she wasn't always represented. So if you've ever felt like you had to just tone it down or question yourself just to fit in, stay with us. Let's get into it. Hello, Lacey. Lacey, I've said a lot about you. My goodness, I'm so glad to have you here. So I've said a lot about you. So could you tell my audience more about you that I haven't said?
Thank you so much, Samantha, and thank you for having me. So I am a founder and CEO of a fashion tech company, Rhubaia, and it is going to be launching in May. And we're really, really excited about it because we're really trying to transform the way that women interact with their clothes. And we're also introducing a sustainable clothing line. And it is going to be hopefully something that helps us to make choices that are good for the environment, but also help us to wear the clothes that we have too. So a little bit of background on it is this idea came to me years ago. The movie Clueless was actually part of my inspiration. If you ever, did you ever watch it with Alicia?
Yes, I have. Yes, I have.
Okay, good. So remember the virtual closet that she has? So she goes in her closet, and back in the 90s, this came on the screen, and I think every person watching was just like, wow, wouldn't that be incredible if that was like accessible to all of us, where we have like this database of our clothes and it comes up with outfit combinations. So over the years, I've been kind of waiting for somebody to create it. And there's been a few attempts. There's others out there that have attempted it, but I just felt like it was missing the mark. And classic story of waiting for other people to do things when you've got an idea, right? And so I waited, tried out a few things, tried out some wardrobe management apps, didn't really have a great experience, started getting frustrated. And then I started getting into sustainable clothing, which is largely motivated by my husband is a career firefighter, and he's exposed to a lot of toxins through his work. And so their gear is often it needs to be cleaned regularly. It's heavily coated with fire retardants and waterproofing materials, which are chemicals that can seep into your skin and impact your overall health. And I know you have a little bit of experience as well working with first responders, and workplace related cancers are a real problem
Yes.
for firefighters because of their exposures, chemicals, burn off, all of that too. And so he had started the journey where he said, look, my chances are already not so good because of my job. At least when I'm away from my job, I want to make really good, healthy choices to help reduce some of my risk. And so he really got into organic clothing and trying to buy even furniture that's non-toxic or doesn't have the toxic coatings on it, all of that sort of thing. And I didn't educate myself at the time. I didn't even worry about it, didn't put any thought into it. So through him and through his journey, I started learning about it. And then I went looking, I work in the office, right? I work lots online or sometimes in person. And I was like, okay, well, even if I want to buy organic, sustainable clothing that's great for the environment and good for me and good for my skin, I don't I can't seem to find it online. I can't seem to find what I want, what I need. It was just like, where's like a beautifully tailored blazer, right? Like, where's some really awesome sustainable dress pants that look amazing at work? And it just felt like, well, it may be out there, it just wasn't easily tracked down. So it's like, you know what? I've got this idea already for this virtual wardrobe management app, and now I kind of formulating this idea for a clothing brand so that I can help make a difference. Why not bring those two things together? And then there's a whole background. I went actually to a trip in New York, and my daughter wanted to go out there, and she wanted, it was a birthday present for her, and she wanted to see on Broadway, Wicked on Broadway. And so we were going out to New York, and I was taking this online fashion certificate course because I already had all these ideas percolating, and I wanted to help her design her grad dress
Okay.
much, and she wanted to help too. And so it was this project that we were doing, and then of course in my mind I'm already like planning a whole collection. And there was a fabric expo in Manhattan at that when we were there. And so I'm sure that I really disappointed my kids, but I was like, we're going to the fabric expo. And they're like, okay, we're going all the way to New York, and this is what, like, with all the things we're planning to do, we got to go to a fabric expo. But anyway, so we went. When I was there, I saw how much sustainability is really becoming part of the mainstream conversations in the fabric world. Like, they know that we need to make healthier choices. They know that in the future, textile waste is going to be a growing problem. And so there is a lot, and also ethics, right? Around ethical production and like all of that sort of thing that's really starting to come to the forefront of the conversation. And these fabric manufacturers know that this is going to be important. And so I realized this, like, oh, okay, like this whole idea that I'm building around a sustainable clothing brand, it isn't even just because that's what I want to do and that's what I'm looking for. It's also strategic because that is the future. And as we educate ourselves and learn more about textile waste and all that sort of thing, it's going to become more and more important, and maybe even government mandated, that we take measures to reduce some of the pollution related to synthetic materials in the world. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then, oh my gosh, then I've spent the last 16 years in IT project management. And
Yes.
I was like, I would be doing such a massive disservice to just be like, okay, here's my sustainable clothing brand and just leave it at that. I was like, how do I transform how we interact with our clothes and introduce technology and utilize the skills that I've built up to actually introduce some revisions and some simplification and some technology to help us with the conundrum that we always have, which is, how do I choose my clothes today? And so that's really where we ended up, where we have introducing a new system, a new platform to revolutionize and pioneer the way that not just women but people across the board interact with their clothes. And so here we are today, and we've got a launch right around the corner, and we've got a working app, and we're just doing some final testing, and it's really cool. I know we had a chance, I showed you before the episodes started, so you've kind of seen it a little bit, but it's coming, and I think it's going to make an impact.
Wow, you are doing big, big things, and I love that for you. And you're helping the environment. And like you said, depending on the environments that you actually work in, the industries. Even me, I've done paving, I work on the airport, and those environments and the chemicals that you ingest by mistake because you're working every day in it, it does play a part in your health. So being able to have the clothing because it's sitting on your skin, I'm assuming
Yes. Yes.
it's absorbed into your pores. So we need every chance to be as healthy as possible. So I love what you're doing. You mentioned the tech world. How did you mix the two worlds? What did you do to mix these two worlds?
It was more, that's what so this goes back to, it's just a story that comes up in a lot of interviews. So this is not new, but a long time ago, earlier on in my career, when I was much younger and less confident in what I was doing, I had someone that I was working with who kind of looked at me and who I am as a woman. In his eyes, I think he thought he was talking to a girl, right? Like somebody young, naive, all of that. And he kind of looked at me and he was just like, we're in the IT world environment, heavily dominated by men, and I celebrate men. Like I want them to succeed. I've been working with them for years and years, and wouldn't be where I am today without incredible, visionary, impactful full men. No way is this an anti-men comment. But this particular guy looked at me and he's like, "Why aren't you in marketing?" Like basically insinuating you don't belong here, like you don't look like you belong here, and you don't act like you belong here, and you don't belong here. And I remember being kind of like, I'm going to work in IT, in technology for the rest of my career. Like I'm going to prove a point. Stubborn. I'm going to prove a point and I'm going to be like, I belong here. I'm going to make a place for myself, and let's not define who belongs where based off anything, right?
Yeah.
Everybody should be having a chance to feel comfortable in any environment, whatever they choose, as long as they have some skills related to that career, and they absolutely belong there. And so when I started the clothing brand, or I was starting it and working on it and designing that first dress, which was my daughter's grad dress, and then the whole collection, I was just like remembering the promise I made to myself, right? I made a promise to myself that there would always be a technology component to anything I'm doing because of that. And so I was like, okay, I have to, just because of my own promise to myself. I am not just doing a clothing brand. We're doing a tech component, and I'm using the skills that I've developed over the years to have that in here. And then it was very natural for me, because when I started looking at it, clothing as a whole, naturally I'm very process oriented from all the years with projects.
Tech.
Like it's like I always like, okay, let's build like a workflow Visio diagram and swim lanes, right? Like I want to understand how we're interacting with these clothes from the time we buy them online, they show up at the door. And I noticed that the moment that the clothes show up at the door, whether you buy it in the mall and you bring it home with you, or you buy it online and it shows up at the door, the process really ends there. Everything after it shows up at the door is manual and traditional. You take the clothes out of the box, you hang it in your closet, you decide when you're going to wear it, what combinations you're going to wear it in. And I was just like, considering how much AI and technology and everything is becoming such a big part of our lives, why is our clothing selection process so incredibly manual? Like, really, not a lot has changed. And so I looked at that and was just like, how do we bring the modern day technology into that clothing selection experience? And there is tech coming out where it's like virtual try on technology, where you can try the clothes on, and or get tried on a AI model, or whatever is out there. And it's a lot of clothing brands are introducing this so that you can do this in store. But I was like, well, let's take this a step further. What about the clothes that are in our closet? And so, as I mentioned, I kind of had checked out some virtual closets and felt like I had a bad experience with them. And so I even took it as far as writing one of those companies and giving them some ideas for their beta product. And I was just like, why don't I stop thinking someone else should do this and just do it myself? And design this. And when I launched this clothing brand, launch a whole platform, a new system of the way that we interface with our clothes, and introduce AI technology to help us to come use the clothes that we have and to shop our closet. So kind of came up with a rough idea. I remember I opened notes in my cell phone, and I started making plans, very high level plans for what this whole new system would look like, new process, and how technology was going to help. And I showed my son, and my son's a big gamer, and he's 15 years old. And I gave it to him, and I said, "What do you think?" And he approached it from a gaming perspective, and he came back with a list of things. He's like, "Well, if you're going to do this, mom, do this, like introduce shareability, make it so people can share their closets with their family and friends, introduce the idea of digital clothes." I think he was inspired by like a few games that he plays where you can buy skins for your characters.
Yes. What is the name of it? I'm trying to think of it because my granddaughter,
Fortnite
she loves it. She loves
is
one of
one of
those games.
them. There's a few of them, but
Yes.
I'm not a huge anyway.
Mm.
I am grateful to all these games because they gave the inspiration ultimately and give my son kind of this ideas to talk to me about. And then he's like, why don't you change the whole game? Like, while you're doing this, why don't you introduce the idea of digital clothes? And he's like, because look at like how much we spend on these digital skins for our characters. Like you can introduce this concept, mom. And I was like, I don't know how to make that work. I'm gonna have to like talk to the developers. We're gonna have to try to figure out what our online platform connection, like how it is enabled and how we're gonna build integrations to the mobile app. My technical logical mind was like trying to already solve the problem before I even got anywhere.
Let me ask you something though, Lacey. I hate to interrupt you real
Was
quick. Where did you get the confidence to do that from? To even want to go out and to ask the questions. I know you said your son and you and him and he gave you these ideas from this paper. But where did you get that the courage, the confidence to stand up and do that, to go out and start doing it?
I was over the course of a few months, a couple of months, going through an internal battle with myself. I realized that I didn't have the confidence. I had this mindset of other people do big things, not me. And I had a moment where I don't even know how to describe it. It was just one day sitting, and it was very powerful where I realized I was formulating all of this and expecting other people to do it and not me. And I went through a lot of like self doubt, like, okay, I'm 40 some years old. I've got 3 kids. I've got a freelancing career in project management that keeps me very busy. My husband and I operate a short term rental property management company as well. I have no business starting another company. We're strapped for time as it is, and I was giving myself all these excuses of why it shouldn't be me and why maybe even down to, am I smart enough? Because again, technology, AI, like all of that. And I realized, wait, I work in this every day. People bring me into these major big projects like corporations to execute these ideas for them. I have all of the skills to make this happen. I'm just like being where you're just kind of talking down to yourself. It's like it doesn't even make sense, right? And I was just like, okay, I need to stop this because someday, and it was a very powerful again moment. I'm going to die, and I'm going to be on my deathbed, and am I going to have regrets? And I had come across a thing online just scrolling about the common regrets that people have at the end of their life, and was reading through them. And I realized that I was going to get there someday, and that if I didn't want to be an example for my kids, but also I didn't where I had great things that I wanted to do, but I didn't have the courage to do them because I want them to have the courage to go out into the world and do all the things that are on their heart and that they are their passions. And I realized that I number one, I would have regret if I got there and I didn't execute on this, and also that I would not have been the example for my kids that I wanted to be. I wanted they for them in the world. And so I don't know, it was just like something switched on in my mind, and I just said, no, this isn't going to be my story. Only person that's really saying you can't do it is yourself. And so you need to overcome whatever it is that's going on inside of you and just realize you've got the skills. I mean, also financial concerns were, it's like, it's quite expensive to go like hire a development team and do marketing and like all of this. And I'm also quite heavy on the faith and intuition. And a calm kind of came over me. And now, whether you believe in whatever you believe in, the source, God, Jesus, the universe, like I always say, like, but this calm kind of came over my heart, and the worries, financial worries, all of that kind of just like, and it was just like, it'll be kept care of. Number one, I had some money set aside for this, like something like this for a rainy day type thing. But I didn't know if it was enough. But it was just like, don't worry about it. You'll be provided for. It's going to be okay. And it was just like, honestly, a calm feeling just kind of came over me. And I was like, it'll be okay. I'm going to
Do you
figure it out.
think that's because you were moving in your purpose?
Yes. Well, and it was, I really believe there is something, and there's something that intuition, whatever it is that's inside of us, guiding us towards choices that are for our higher, to help us level up and become better versions of ourselves. And a lot of times we ignore those intuitive twinges, right? Our self-doubt, or all the things that are going on day in and day out, all the things we're exposed to through media and magazines and online and everything else. Again, we also as women, like, just it's tough out there, right? And so getting past the idea of like other people doing it versus you, I think that truly we are being led to these higher versions of ourselves, but we so often don't listen to those little intuitive nudges. And so I believe that was what that was. And sure enough, we're super close to our go live now. We've had crazy things happen as they do in any major project, like where we're like, oh my gosh, is this going to happen? Like it seems like every day we turn around, there's another problem that we think is like at the end of the world. And sure enough, whatever it is out there comes through and a solution is found and we find a way past that hurdle, or some miracle, and I swear to you, miracles sometimes comes through and help comes through, or a partner comes through to execute the vision. And every worry that everything that we've been running into, there's been something to come along that has helped us to get through it. And we're so close now. Now when you're doing a marathon, right? You run the marathon, you can see the finish line. We're like, we can see it, we can taste it. We're like so close. We're almost there. We're just like honestly at this point, we're just like powering through, and we realize like the team that has worked on this project, because this has not just been me by myself. I did end up having to go out and find incredible people to come along on this journey. Again, the people that are even came out of no, I don't even know where they all came from to come along and somehow find their way to me and for me to hire them and then for them to be incredibly impactful. They are so bought in, they're so passionate about this project. They have been so important to executing it all. It's just been, it's been super amazing, and we're almost there.
I believe in what you're saying when you're moving in your purpose and you moving in what you are, what you're supposed to do, because we all come into this world and we show up. But when we start moving in our purpose and what is the plan that we've made for ourselves, that was given to us, that is instilled inside of our heart, that we don't allow to come out. We allow ourselves to be led by what the world is, how it defines us, like the men that you met in your earlier career, and for you to allow yourself to stop. That's why I wanted to know, like, was it your purpose, or how did you get the confidence to step out, especially earlier on in your career, and being able to create your company and to show the world like this is change, this is different. I am inventing this vision that I had, and like you said,
Yeah.
you had the monies, some
Yeah.
of it to do, but
Not all
everything
of it.
else,
Some
not
of
all
it's
of
just
it.
had to like find its way.
Right. So these aren't just challenges, these were lessons. And how does those lessons play a part in how you show up now in the world, now that you have built Rhubaia? Rhubaia.
I had a very good friend and mentor who was very important to me changing my mindset earlier on in my career. So I had worked with her early, like in my early 20s when I was just out of university, and we became friends, and then we ended up at another company together. And and she kind of noticed that I had a tendency when I was younger to ask for permission all the time. Like, is it okay for me to do this? Like, should I do this? Like I needed validation, I needed reassurance. And actually a need for external reassurance has been a struggle of mine throughout my career and life, where having that confidence to go do things without some external validation and just trusting myself and trusting my intuition and trusting my own experience to lead the way, and faith and whatever it all is that you believe out there. But she kind of was the first person to notice that I was doing this, and she's like, whoa, stop asking for permission for everything. You'll take your place in the room. Don't ask if it's okay if you're there. You're here. You clearly are good enough to be here, or you wouldn't be here. You don't ask for nobody's permission, especially for just to take your place. And every time she saw me doing it, she would be like, no, no, you're here. No more permission. No more looking for reassurance and validation. What is your mind say? Like, what do you need to do to feel like you're doing the right thing? Because she's like, I notice, like, most of the time you've got it. You don't have to go get that validation. You know what you need to do. And so she wasn't saying, oh, don't get mentorship, don't learn from others. Obviously, that's very important. But she was noticing it at a more of a deeper level than that.
Right.
It was over basic things, just like really, it's not even about like learning from others who are more advanced in their career, just like basic life things. Like, you don't need to ask for permission to like go get something from your car in meetings. Like,
No, I mean, we've been conditioned to do
yeah,
those things, and until we actually recognize that voice inside of us that says, girl, you got this, what you doing?
yeah.
Like, that's what we do. What would you tell a woman right now if she's in your position where she's been in rooms and she's led the rooms and she's like, well, I'm not sure, maybe. What would you tell her to do?
I would say that take a seat at the table. If it's a room full of people that are making you intimidated, because a lot of times they don't even intend to do this. The reality is, a lot of times it's things that are going on in our own mind than reality. But if you feel like you're in a room and you feel like you're asking permission to be there, take a seat at the table. You sit down, you take your place, and you don't ask for permission to be there. You take up space. And it's okay to take up space. You've been hired there. You have skills, you know things, and you don't have to be apologetic about it. And also ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions. If you feel like there's something you don't know, and trust me, we're all learning and we'll be learning till the day we die as well. And you have a great deal of respect for other people in that room and at that table, great. Ask questions. So again, that's taking up space. Don't sit there quiet. Don't sit there. Just take the opportunity. If you have that much respect for the others that are there, take the opportunity to learn from them. But also realize that you might have some very valid and exciting and awesome new ideas that those people also might want to hear too. So a big part of it is, again, not apologizing, not shrinking yourself when you do have your moments to sit at the table. If you're invited, you're there, take your seat at the table, you belong there.
Oh, I love that. Look, I see you own your voice now. I love that because, that's part of standing in your power, owning who you are, and you own it now. So you showing up and leading your company. When you lead Rhubaia, I want to make sure I'm saying it right because I want everybody to be on that website saying it. What women, is it everyday wear? Is it business attire? What's going on for your company?
So our clothing is mainly business professional. So things that you'd wear to work as a business professional woman. Um,
Oh,
it was weird. I went through a weird experience for the first time. I had to write CEO on my email signature line.
okay.
And I did go through, I felt, what's it, imposter syndrome that is very common for anybody in those positions to have. I felt a moment of imposter syndrome because for years I've worked for CEOs, I've worked for people with that title, but to actually define it as it for myself felt like very, very foreign. And it felt almost like typing it and just be like, yeah, I guess I'm the C. Wait, I am the C. Yeah. and,
No.
and taking those moments, I think that's really important for women to have those moments and realize I went through a very similar thing. So I published a young adult fantasy novel. I wrote it throughout my 20s and then I ended up publishing it. My goal was always to be published by the time I was 30. And I went through a very, very similar experience when I moved from hobby writing to being a published author, to being a writer. Like the first time that you call yourself or tell somebody you're a writer, it feels very imposter syndrome where you're like, I guess I'm a writer. Like I'm writing a book. I'm a published writer. Like and we go through these moments where we have a really hard time to realize, wait, you belong. Take your seat at the table, right?
Yes. Yes.
You
That's
are
what I
working
teach.
your butt off. Like
Yeah.
you're
No,
doing
that's
whatever
important.
you belong. That's your title. Samantha is a successful podcaster.
No, but that's what I work with women, teaching them, because I don't believe in imposter syndrome. I think our confidence is disrupted at some point because of the societal norms and the conditioning and, ancestral beliefs that we've bought into. That's why it's so important that I teach women to brag on themselves, to build brag bags, because we
Yes.
get lost in what other people's beliefs are before we even have our own beliefs as women. Like you said, you were thinking writing CEO or saying you're a published author. Like, is that really me? But we don't back our own evidence up when we don't show up as women like, hey, listen, I belong in this room, and saying why, because we've been taught that's being conceited, that you're being too much, you're over the top, and falling into someone else's belief system, which doesn't allow us to fully sit up straight at the
Yes.
table, in the front of the table, and own what we do. So that's why when you sit here and you're talking about how amazing you are, I love that, because you're the CEO of Rhubaia, and now you are getting ready to launch in May. So you are taking over and changing the world with what you do.
Well, and that's the thing is like I think that people need to, like, listeners need to realize that that's a journey. That for most of my life I wasn't confident enough to say that, and I think that's the problem is that men have no problem tooting their own horn most times and celebrating their successes. As women, we're conditioned to take a back seat, and you're told you're conceited, or you're told that you should be quiet. Okay, yes, you're doing well, don't talk about it. Don't, yes, there's something good happening, like, but do does everyone in the world do that? Okay, we have to be, we have, like, I just
Humble. You
I
were getting ready to say it. Say it. Go ahead and
it
say
is,
it.
but it's just like, you can still be that, like, you can still be, you just because you're talking about what you're doing out there doesn't make it mean anything about who you are as a person, outside of the fact that, like, you're talking about what you're doing, right? Like the same way anyone else would. And it needs to happen. We need to do it more, and we need to stop feeling bad about it, because the problem we have right now, as general as women, is the idea that there's a lot of incredible women doing a lot of incredible things out there, and society is still conditioning them to blend into the background
Yeah.
and not take their seat at the table. And it's just like, why are we doing this to each other? And the thing is, other women do it to other women, and that's a whole other conversation, right?
That's a whole conversation to have, because some women do it, but I believe it's out of safety, and for you to stand up and not look for that safe place and to build Rubaya and to have it stand out, and to allow the world to say, no, my voice doesn't have to be quiet. I don't have to whisper how great my company is. Come on, Rubaya, I love it. And saying to the world, like, hey, I built this. See me, see what I'm doing. Not just to change a clothing industry, but to change the environment. Those are things you don't have to be humble about or whisper about, because you are changing how we see the world itself in a safe place and still be fashionable.
And I want my kids to do it too. Like,
Yeah.
I want my daughter to just go out, take up the space, dream big, have self-confidence, believe in yourself. Actually, if nobody else believes in you, at least believe in yourself. But I
That's right.
will. I'll be there believing in them too. And I say always, I'll believe, if I'm not here, I'll believe from the other side. And don't you worry, I'm around somewhere.
Yeah, no, it comes with self trust and building that as women. It's like we haven't
Mhm.
done that before. So now building self trust, and now standing in that, standing rooted in that.
Yeah.
That's what you've done building your company.
We really hope so. And it's a
It's
cast.
no hope in it. I see it. You get ready to do it. You're doing it when? May, right? You're doing it
Yeah.
in May, so you've done it. Right now, you just pushing oh, this is the date I'm doing it. This is the date I'm letting the world see what I've built. So what you've done is amazing. This is where you get to brag on you. And you get to say, that's why I'm like, where did it come from? Where did you find it when the world tells us something different? And yes, people were your allies, but you ultimately did it. So I'm like, yes, I want to hear about it. I want the world to know what you're doing.
Yeah, thank you. It's just the beginning. It's just the beginning. And I think that it is important though to note that it was a team of people because I couldn't have done it by myself without the team behind me. And so I really truly am amazed by them every single day, what they do and how committed they are to make this all happen. Yeah, I just have so much appreciation for them and continue to be amazed by their own perseverance. Each one of them has their own journey that they're going through. I'm just supporting it in whatever way that I can, but hopefully they have a person that, and maybe I can be that person for them that says it's okay to take up space. It's don't ask permission to be great. Just do it. And actually that's the key in there. Yeah, the permission to not apologize for what is great. As soon as I said it, I
Who's
was,
defining it?
who's defining it? What is it? And who gets to say they are or not?
With somebody?
Isn't greatness like just even just getting up in the day and being a mom? Like, isn't greatness being a mom? Can't a mom who is being an incredible mom and committed to doing that, even if she never goes into the office, isn't that greatness?
Yes.
And shouldn't we all be saying, celebrating our greatness and whatever it is? We don't have to go out and start a company to be great. We don't have to, yeah, absolutely. We celebrate your greatness because there's something awesome that everybody's doing. And I think if we had that mindset a little bit more, it would probably be in general a little bit healthier for us all mentally, everything in our experience in the world.
Yeah, definitely. Look, defining our own greatness, defining how we decide to show up in this world and not allowing everyone else to do it for us. Like you're leading a great team. What better than that? Like you said, and now you're pouring into new leaders that get to define their greatness and how they show up for themselves first and their families and then your company. We're changing and shifting the world as CEOs, as authors, podcast hosts. It's just us. And we've ran in the direction in which people have told us for so long. It can feel foreign, but you've embraced it by building your Rhubaia. You built it and you've done something that wasn't done before.
Yeah. And you know what? I still have self-doubt. I do, and I fight through it every single day. I was just the other day, I was thinking, oh, again, I try to stop myself from doing this because it's not good, but maybe I'm doing too much. And then it's just like, wait a second, that's your job to run this company and do too much and launch it and get it out there. It's like maybe I'm being too much. That's not even doing too much. Ultimately, what it is at a deeper level is maybe there's too much. And it's like that's exactly what you need to do. And if anybody else was doing it, it would be defined as determined visionaries. You're not like there's no such thing as don't like we have to stop ourselves when we catch ourselves in these moments, right?
Yes. And look, that's what you did. You recognized it and learning how to recognize that, hey, I'm leaning towards doubting or I'm leaning towards thinking I should switch from going for everything that I want in this world, which is what we were here to do, to go after our wants and dreams. And I get to change the way I'm thinking. People don't think we can, but you get to decide to change your thought in that moment and think of something different that's going to be more productive and loving to yourself. Because when we start doubting our position, start doubting who we are, we're no longer trusting ourselves. So learning to lean into the joy of what has gotten us to the steps that where we are, the steps that have gotten us to where we're going,
Hmm.
allows us to know that we're trusting ourselves. And that in itself is love for ourselves. So everything that you're doing, changing a thought, helping your leaders lead the team, that is extraordinary.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Look, it seems like we could talk and talk and go on and go on. So I want everyone to know who you are, what you do. But before that, because I was getting ahead of myself, could you tell me what it means to be rooted in your confidence?
I think that rooted in your confidence means that even when problems happen, realize that those problems, everybody is having problems. There's not a company, a project, anything that's going on in the world without some fires to put out. So rooted in your confidence is overcoming and being ready to climb those mountains and realizing that problems are completely okay. And everybody's got them. And you don't quit or think less of yourself because you happen to have run into an issue or two or three. Running a company is very exciting. I think that's what rooted in confidence is being like, yeah, today we've got something we've got to sort through. You don't take it personal. You just dig in, get focused on solving it, coming up with solutions versus problems, just focusing on the problem itself. And if you can do that and find a way to overcome those tough days and tough issues and continue to just it's a mountain range out there. You're not just going to climb one mountain, you're going to be climbing a lot of them, right? That's rooted in confidence. Is believing in yourself and what you've got and what you got going on and who you are, what you can do to just keep going.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing that, Lacey. I love that. And for my audience that wants to buy, test, get in touch with you, maybe ask you a few questions, how can they do all the things?
So reaching out, feel free to always reach out on our social media, but you can get a hold of us at rhubaia.com. Please sign up, subscribe, follow along. We send out newsletters, we send out updates regularly. We're going to be promoting our Go Live in May quite a lot, and we really want to build a community of people. So please follow along on Instagram or any of the social media, and that's ask questions, just whatever it is that you might have on your heart. Feel free to reach out. We're here, and we're ultimately all on this journey together.
I love that. Thank you for sharing. And before we go, because I just love the blazer you had on, whose blazer is that
And
by any chance?
this is a Rhubaia blazer. So this is 100% organic cotton blazer. So the amazing thing about it is if it ever does end up in landfill, which 87% of our clothes do, it will return to the earth naturally, give back into the life cycle of things versus turn into danger like microplastics, which a lot of synthetic clothing do. And it's meant to look very professional, very tailored, very nice, so that you feel good and look good in the office or wherever it
Awesome.
is, whatever event you might wear it to.
Awesome sauce. Thank you again. And that's right. I just want to let you know that right there, that's what I'm talking about. Not the highlighted reel, not the polished version, but the real decisions that happen in the moment when when you either trust yourself or you don't. And if this conversation hit you, touched you, don't just sit with it. Ask yourself, where am I second guessing myself? Where am I holding back? Because confidence isn't something you go get. It's something you come back to again and again in the moments that matter. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure you're following Rooted in Your Confidence. Leave a review, and if you're ready to stop replaying conversations after the fact and start showing up differently in the moment, I want you to connect with me. All the ways to work with me, my sessions, and my resources are in the show notes. And as always, thank you for being here.